Pandora's box is about to open wide.
Welcome once again to Pandora's box, ladies and gentlemen. We've just been talking about how we have quite a lot of electrical problems here in our studio.
We do indeed.
But they're very mysterious. I probably should say as well that me wife is with us
Whoop,
this year.
whoop.
It's me wife, Emily Waite, me wife.
Special
hello.
guest alert.
How you doing, wife?
Yeah, I'm alright, thanks, hubby.
So it wasn't planned for Emily to be here. She just was in the office because she works for the greater company, that is Aspen Waite, who provides a plethora of professional services from accounts to tax to marketing to media, obviously radio. So if you need any of those things done, if you have a business and you want to take your business to the next level and make sure it's taken care of by some of the UK's best professionals, get in touch with Aspen Waite today for a brighter future.
That's it.
Emily was in and made herself a cup of tea, and I was like, "Yeah, just come and chat until Bullwinkle's in."
Mm-hmm.
But we were having a nice little gander.
Yeah, just having a chit-chat.
Gander. We weren't having a gander at anything. What
A
am I on
gander
about?
about the
We were having a
world.
gas.
Yeah, we were having a good chat.
Yeah.
Keep your gas to yourself, lady.
Yeah.
So we were just having a nice little chat, and we thought, do you know what? Let's just start recording.
Mm-hmm.
Let's start recording because we were having interesting chats, weren't we? About I'm already branching off. I will get back to the electrical problems in a bit, guys. I will. But we were chatting, weren't we, a little bit about how it's just funny how different people operate socially.
Mm-hmm.
So we were talking, weren't we, about how you almost
About how I'm weird.
Nah, well, we're all weird in our own way, aren't we? But you get like a little bit like flappy, don't you?
Yeah.
When there's like suddenly more than sort
If
of
there's
three
more
people in a
than
room.
like 2 or 3, then my brain just dissolves.
Would you say you're like a panicker in general, or just in like?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like like a warrior.
I've always been described as a worrier.
Yeah, just a bit of a warrior.
Yeah.
But it's all good, isn't it? But yeah, we were like laughing, weren't we, about some of the things we remember in the past, like when you tried to describe to me and Josh and Claire what CCTV was, and
Just
then
pointless.
you were saying that you thought you were autistic, but I was saying I don't think you're autistic. And then obviously our good friend Alice, who's sort of like more like a little sister to us, really, isn't she?
Yeah.
But she does, for people that don't know, she does the social media for AW Radio.
Yeah.
And she also cuts up the majority of our clips nowadays for Pandora's box. So if you ever see like a clip of Pandora's on Instagram, for example, it's usually Alice that makes them nowadays. So shout out Alice, aka the veg pig, as I call her. She's also my little training buddy. Literally, she's little and she's my training buddy.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out Alice. But you guys hang out together, don't you? And like do
Yeah.
arts and crafts and stuff. And I was saying how much it makes me laugh because usually when I hang out with people, I'm like the majority of the time, at least, we'll be like talking. We'll be having like some sort of dialogue, and if we're not having dialogue, we'll just be like generally being like a bit like animated and weird together. Whereas I'll like come in the house sometimes, new house, they're doing like arts and crafts, and it'll be like silent in the house, and I'll be like, is anyone even here? And I'll go in the kitchen, and you guys will just be like sat opposite each other in silence, just like painting something, or just doing some little arts and crafty thing.
Yeah, we're just comfortable in silence. There's
Yeah.
no need for words. Not pointless words, anyway. Certainly not explanations on how CCTV works.
Yeah.
I think because we've just known each other a long time, we just, like I was saying earlier, we have our initial catch-up. We talk about what we've been up to. And then we,
Can you just bring your mic just a little bit closer to your mouth, Emmy? Because
Sorry, it keeps falling.
I'm louder
It's
than
just
you.
like gradually falling.
Oh,
I keep having to like hold it.
it's going a little bit limp.
Yes.
We all have that problem from time to time.
I was thinking about like what interactions I have that are more quiet, but it kind of makes sense that you were saying like it's comfortable.
Yeah.
Because I feel like pretty much every conversation that I have, or like not conversation, every interaction I have that it's just sort of sitting in quietness, that's probably exactly what I would describe it as, is comfortable.
Yeah.
It's probably if I'm like with family or like someone that you're really close to and you can actually, enjoy that silence. So like we're saying, that's why it makes it a little bit uncomfortable when someone can't enjoy that silence and feels the need to be butting in all the time and adding something, almost trying to provoke a conversation.
Yeah, definitely. I just don't think there's any point to like fill silence with like pointless waffle or
Yeah, I think it depends. I think like if you're like making small talk for the sake of small talk, then that's when it's like unnecessary. And
I find small talk painful.
Oh yeah, I think nobody enjoys it really, do they? But I think that, you know, as long as it's an authentic conversation, then obviously it's good. I don't think that you need to sit in silence, but obviously I think if it's like authentically comes about, as you said, Bullwinkle, if you're like with like close friends or family members, and you can just sort of like enjoy someone's company, but in silence, then that's like a really nice thing, isn't it?
Absolutely. I also funnily think though, almost to flip exactly what I just said, I think if I went into a situation, a room of people, say, and I was uncomfortable, I would appreciate someone else being the waffler of that situation, you know? I feel like someone needs to be filling that silence. Someone needs to be provoking these conversations.
That's me.
Yeah.
I'm the waffler. Just call me Waffle Man.
You're just like my little social jester.
Buffer.
Yeah.
I'm the buffer.
But I do think it adds a lot. I really do.
Yeah, that's probably why a lot of people want me to be in social interactions.
Well, as well.
Like, if anyone's struggling, Calum will talk about some rubbish.
He'll find something.
Calum will go on a rant about sperm whales.
yeah.
Or Calum taught the hind leg off a donkey.
Yeah, that's it.
As Nan says.
Yeah.
But do you find, though, I always feel like I've done this as an introverted person. I tend to like almost get adopted by an extroverted person. And then they're just like, yeah, we'll take you in. And then I can just sort of happily sit with them, not having to really have much input, but still manage to maintain a friendship because they're sort of doing like the... Well, not that I'm saying I'm being lazy, like socially, but just that,
I don't think it comes across.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think it comes across as that. I think it's one of those things that like...
they carry the conversation and you kind of just...
Yeah.
Not just that, but I think, you know, there's something to be said for like opposites attract. Yeah. And I think that like you can... It's very hard to explain or like describe why certain people get along, isn't it? Because like human chemistry is very complicated, but like people can get on sometimes, and on paper they will seem like radically different. Like for example, a good example would be someone like me and Alice.
Yeah.
Right? Like on paper we are like completely different people, but we get on really, really well, and we like clearly enjoy being in each other's company.
Yeah.
But I think you can get like almost like symbiotic relationships, can't you, with people without obviously thinking about it consciously. It's a natural thing. But say if you're like super introverted, that can be to your detriment because the less people you hang around with, the less social interactions you have in general. Reminds me of that saying, you know, it's not always what you know, it's who you know. You're less likely to meet people in life than as a result. If you're not meeting as many people, you know, you might miss out on opportunities because, as I said, with that whole like it's not what you know, it's who you know. You never know who you're going to bump into in life, and that might open a door for you. It might be a job. Oh, well, actually, it's funny you said that you just were interested in getting a job like that one day. My uncle's actually works in that industry, and he's actually looking to take someone at the moment. Do you want me to like put in a good word? Like, oh my God, are you kidding me? It could be something like that. It's like guests on Pandora's box. Some of them have happened just because I've been chatting to somebody and they're like, oh, actually, like, start telling me some crazy story. And I'm like, do you want to come on the pod then? Do you know what I mean? But it's like, if I just hadn't spoken to that person, then that wouldn't have happened. Yeah. You know? So I think it's like, for someone, for quieter people like yourself and like Alice, to have somebody that like, you know, you can go to like social occasions that is a bit more extroverted. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can go there, you're feeling sort of like comfortable and secure with like the people that you are really close with, that you actually do feel like comfortable being like completely yourself with and open with. But then at the so that's almost like your security blanket. But at the same time, you're in a larger group then. There's no pressure on you to like keep the conversation going because there's like a bigger group comprising all of like friends of friends. Yeah. And it just sort of works out better, you know?
Yeah, definitely. It's funny though, isn't it? It's a bit like we were talking the other day. I think it was yesterday actually. I think we were watching videos of like Ozzy Osbourne like performing.
It was day 4 yesterday.
And we were like talking about like Josh like performing on stage and saying like he's said in the past that he finds it almost like easier to perform on stage because it's like this persona that he's like
and
portraying.
And he also said, sorry, just a second. He also said he finds it easier to play if there's nobody in the crowds that he knows, because then he finds it easy to put on this like frontman persona, whereas if there's like friends or family there, it makes him almost feel like he's like almost like like on the spot, or like it's breaking that illusion.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I get that as well. I was thinking then, like when we were talking about, you know, why people enjoy that opposite energy. And I think part of it could be because none of us are distinctly extroverted or introverted. I suppose there's probably few outliers to that. But there's definitely situations that I'll go into very introverted and like not really wanting to lead a conversation or just sitting along and letting other people take the reins. But then there's also times where I'll go into a situation and want to be very extroverted and sort of trying to meet people and trying to chat and trying to start conversations. So maybe that's why. Maybe we've all just got a little bit of both. And it's probably quite nice to have those either extremes both with you so you can sort of remain somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a lot of things in life, it's not like one way or the other. There's like a spectrum. Do you know what I mean? And I also think, you know, as we've talked about lots before on the pod, I think people are very complicated creatures. And, you know, that as you said, you know, you could be more introverted in certain situations, more extroverted than others. I think I'm sort of like quite like an extremist by nature, so I will probably be either be like one of the most chatty people in a room or one of the quietest, but like almost like no in the middle. Like sometimes I can. Sometimes I think it might even be weird to some people, but sometimes I can be like very quiet, like really quiet. I mean, that's not very often,
no.
But you know.
Well, we always say, don't we? You're the most sociable person we know.
Yeah.
Because it's like the difference between us is that you don't really want to be out socialising and making small talk people, but if you see our neighbours on the street, you're like, oh, hey, hi, how are you? Whereas I'm like curtain twitching and waiting for everybody to go back in their house before I leave.
Yeah.
Or like even
it's safe to go out to the car.
Even like the supermarkets, I will always chat to
terrible.
the checkout ladies and stuff.
Yeah, and I'm just
by this point, like even if I just like saw them out of the shop, I'd be like,
I
all right, and they'd be like, all right, love. I quite like that.
Which is hilarious, but. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? We're complicated creatures, you know. We're complicated creatures. I don't know. I guess like with me, I don't almost like feeling like tied down to social occasions. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would you say that almost just feels like a more natural interaction? Like
yes.
You prefer it when it's almost like not planned and not
authentic.
Yeah,
definitely. Whereas like, but if I had the choice, say between like on a weekend of like going out with like a massive group of people like all day in like a city, or like just doing something quite quaint and quiet, like going for a hike on my own, and then just like going home and having like a little family meal, I like 9 times out of 10 I'd pick that. You know, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Or just like chilling out in our house or our garden, or like just doing something maybe with just like a good mate, just like one good mate. Do you know what I mean? Rather than going out on like this big thing, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's like something that happens to you after you turn 30. But I do feel like as time goes on, the less and less plans that are made, the happier you are.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I've got that thing I've got to do next week. And then it just plays on your mind and you're just like secretly hoping that it falls through.
Yeah, I think it depends what it is. I think it depends what it is, but I think it's good sometimes to almost like force yourself to do those things.
Yeah,
I think,
it is, definitely.
I think often you are glad you did it.
Oh, you pretty much always are, aren't you, to be fair?
Yeah, I think you are the majority of the time. Not always. But then again, if you go one of those things and you're really not enjoying it, like you're an adult, you can leave.
You can leave, that's true.
Leave.
That is
true.
true.
I mean? Just do what Nikki C does and just leave and don't say goodbye to anyone.
What was it? An Irish exit?
French exit, I thought it was good.
Oh, I thought it was an Irish.
I thought it was Irish as well, to be fair.
Did you?
An Irish goodbye or something like that.
Irish,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm going to look it up.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure, because...
I don't know where it stems from.
I'm pretty sure... Mate, I wouldn't be surprised. It might be one of those things that, like... You know, like, it's like certain countries are like call like another country something, and then it turns out like that country just calls your country that as well. Or, you know what I mean? There's like certain things like that in life. But I'm pretty sure... Because obviously Nikki C has always been one person that's done that, just randomly leave social situations without saying goodbye to anyone.
I do kind of understand that though. I mean, I do always say goodbye, but yeah, I sort of understand why he does it. Like, I don't hold it against him.
I'm really bad at that on nights out with my friends.
What,
I just sort of disappear.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I like going on little adventures, I think. I like the idea that the next day I've got like a little story or something that I've experienced that I can tell people that they didn't have, and they can be like, what? When the hell did that happen? But it usually just ends up in me sort of disappearing, and then everyone being like, where's he gone? And then
I think
not
as well,
really knowing myself.
Like life is to be lived, isn't it? And you want to get like experiences.
Yeah.
If your only experiences are like, or the only thing you can ever bring to the table in like if you're chatting about like funny things that have happened to you, or like, well, I just played computer games yesterday, or just just sat in and I watched another episode of Friends. It's like, all right, moving on. Do you know what I mean? It's like obviously it's the crazy stories are what makes you like laugh. Like, oh man, like almost like the crazier. And in some ways, this is probably just like a very British humour, but in some ways it's almost like the worse something went.
Yeah,
the funnier it
the
is.
funnier and almost
100%.
like better the story is. You know?
Well, like the time I got attacked by a squirrel.
Yeah, where it's like there's an ongoing thing where like M gets attacked by animals.
By
you've got to tell this story now.
Whenever we go anywhere.
Anyway, like for some reason, the animal. I don't know what M's done to the animal kingdom.
I love animals. I don't know why they hate me.
It's because she doesn't put as much food out for the animals in the garden as I do. That's right, and they know it.
Look.
M's more likely to use the food bin. I'm like, why would you use the food bin? Let's go to the bottom of the garden, and I'll either chuck something in the field past the rain, so like the foxes and the badgers can like, and the stray cats can like devour it. Or, you know, if it's like bread or biscuits or something that I've gone a bit off, I'll just go and like rip them apart and I'll put them under our tree.
And now they're getting their revenge.
Calling up their mates and like,
it was actually
so
this was so funny, right? So I don't know if any of you listening remember, or any of you, you know, all the people that listen to Pandora's Box on a regular basis anyway. But over the summertime, I think it was over the summer.
Yeah, it was the summer. Mm-hmm.
I'm glad it wasn't an overly hot day because I was wearing a suit. But anyway, I couldn't remember being hot. That's why I was like a bit confused for a second. I was like, in time frame, I reckon it was summer, but I can't remember it being like that hot.
It was
anyway.
the summer.
Oh, that's cool. So at least one of us switched on. But anyway, me and Drew played our friend Darcy's wedding. Darcy was the lady who was on with her mum Tracy when we did the episode all about
possession.
Yeah, Darcy's grandmother. Tracy's mother was supposedly possessed by a demon, and it was that whole story about the demonic possession and like finding God and all that stuff. It was a really interesting episode, and Darcy's not only my barber, but I would say like a friend nowadays as well. Anyway, we played her wedding. She got married in Wookey Hole Caves, which is super cool. Up until she told me about that, I didn't even know that like you could do that. But anyway, we played her down the aisle to the Hobbit theme tune. From Lord of the Rings, which as soon as she said she wanted that, I was immediately like, yes. You know, it's like one of those things that she was like, oh yeah, Calum, you like playing music, don't you? And I was like, yeah, sometimes. And she was like, oh, I was like wondering if you'd be at all interested in like playing me and Doug down the aisle. And then I was like, you know, when you're like in your head, you're like, well, in your head, you're like, well, it depends on what she wants me to play. If it's something I don't want to play, then I don't know if I want to do it. But then I was like, what did you have in mind? And then as soon as she was like, you know, like the Hobbit theme tune from Lord of the Rings, I was like, yeah, I'll do it.
That's the role you were born to play.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm actually on my way there with my guitar now.
Heard that song so many times in the weeks leading up to that.
I bet.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what a freaking awesome thing to get married to.
It is cool.
But anyway, this is building up the background for why M got attacked by a squirrel. So it came to the big day. We went to Wookey Hole Caves. We set up. What a glorious, magical event it was. Luckily, everything went to plan. We did a little sound check in the caves, looking around as the drips in the background echoed through the chasms.
Quite the build-up.
Darcy and Doug walked down the aisle. They married. Everything was well in the world. We eventually left the venue. Emily and our daughter Evie had gone to Wells. As many of you will know, Wells is only about a 10-minute drive from Wookey Hole, isn't it? It's the closest sort of place, like other big settlement, if you want to call it that, to Wookey Hole Caves. So you took Evie out for like an ice cream, and you just had a little mooch around Wells. Because we went obviously as a family together, and we thought it'd be really nice if we sort of went together, and then you and Evie went to Wells, and then afterwards you sort of came pick me up, and then we go for a meal together. Which we thought, what a nice little day that'll be. So anyway, you came and met back up with us in Wookey Hole.
Yeah.
And it was really nice as well, actually, wasn't it? Just as a little side note, because obviously we had like sort of like musician privileges. Evie could play like the little soft play, didn't she? In Wookey Hole for a little bit.
VIP access to
it was great.
Soft play area.
That was actually
that.
That's so worth. See, like you know, we were saying earlier about like why it's worth talking to people and doing things like even that, even like opening the door of like then like somebody being like, oh wait a minute, this person plays music. Shall I ask them to play me down the aisle? And then like say yes. And even the fact that you can just like something small like that, just like the fact that you can play an event and then for free your kid can give them the soft play. Worth it just for that alone. Let alone like the memories of doing it and all the rest of it and being able to put a smile on someone's face. Anyway, we're walking back to the car. Evie had played in the soft play. She was happy. Free orange juice. Everyone's happy. You know, played the music. Fine. Boom. Job done. Walking back to the car. Let's go for a little meal. Yeah, that sounds nice. Walking around the corner. I hear a little rustle in the bin. I'm walking along holding Evie's hand. Em stood behind me, chatting to Drew. All of a sudden, a rabid grey squirrel jumps out of the bin, right? Jumps onto Emily's knee and scratches her knee before running off.
It's just like a flurry of fur and
happened.
fury.
God.
What is happening right now?
The whole thing was over within a second.
I know.
Wasn't it?
I just saw its little tail scampering off around the corner before I'd even realised what had happened. And then I just looked down and there was like blood all over my leg. And I was like,
my God.
what?
Annoyingly, you were wearing like those jeans.
Those jeans with the open, like
knees.
the ripped knee.
Yeah.
And it got right on the knee.
Right on the knee.
If I'd only worn normal jeans,
yeah,
I'm sure I would have been fine.
It knew what to target.
Yeah, because the denim would have probably been just about tough enough that even if it ripped the jeans, I don't reckon you would have had like more than like maybe a slight scrape. But because you were wearing, obviously, you didn't have any knees on your jeans.
So
you
were
bleeding.
Yeah.
And then obviously
I spent the entire like car journey from there to Glastonbury. We were having
phone.
our meal on the phone to 111. Like,
answer
all these questions. Answer all these questions, and they were like, "Oh, you're gonna have to come in for a service check."
My God.
Can you believe that?
So yeah.
God, that sounds like it was a planned attack by the squirrel.
Very mean.
Straight
story.
in and out, saw the knee, and
Just
then
like,
it was.
She's having it.
Yeah, exactly. On site.
So then it was like real funny. We were like having this really nice meal in Glastonbury.
And I'm just on the phone.
Yeah, we drove from Mookie Hole to Glastonbury. We had a meal at the Italian restaurant in Glastonbury called Gigi's, which we had many a meal there.
Very nice.
Really nice place. And but there was almost just this little funny background, little side quest where you were just like worried about your knee, and then we were thinking about the fact you were going to have a tetanus shot. And I remember you were like waiting for a call back from the doctor while we were like in the restaurant.
Literally in the restaurant. Oh my God. Honestly.
And then like a couple of months later, so obviously Em had a tetanus shot, obviously fine, all good. I can't remember if it was like a month or 2 months later, we went out for a day out to Lyme Regis, didn't we?
Oh yeah, immediately.
Hey, we're late to set the stage. Don't give away the good stuff.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah, we do.
All right.
Right. So nice little walk around Lyme Regis. Went to this little really cool like family-owned like dinosaur museum.
Oh, the dinosaur museum. That's really
that
good.
was so cool, wasn't it? Shout out Lyme Regis Dinosaur Museum.
Oh, it's amazing. You should definitely go.
Nice.
I recommend.
Yeah, I really recommend it as well. It's only like a little family-owned one, but they were really nice people as well, weren't they? And so we went to that. Obviously, get peckish as you do. So we went and got like some sandwiches from like the little high street co-op and everything. Like, oh yeah, let's go and eat our sandwiches on the beach. Literally, nice little walk down to the beach. Happy families. The moment we stepped on the beach, a seagull pooed on them.
Honestly, I took literally first foot stepped onto pebbles of beach immediately.
Oh my God.
Nobody else on the beach.
Nobody
just
else,
you.
just me.
Yeah, we don't know that actually.
Well, yeah.
It just seems more funny to say.
It's always been a bit of a running joke, like with my family, that like animals they just hate me.
I reckon there must be a darker story to this, like with
Maybe.
Drew and the fish back in the day. I reckon you've done something to the animal kingdom.
Not,
Drew and the fish.
What was Drew doing? Wasn't he like gutting fish like alive or something?
No.
Oh yes.
It was something like really weird.
I've never heard of this.
He's such a weirdo. Isn't
He
he?
told this years ago on the
I've
pod.
never done. I can hold my hands up now and say I've never done anything.
Some of the things that Drew just comes out with on the pod. By the way, for all you like you OG like pod listeners, just to he just randomly went. It was how casually he was talking about it, wasn't it? It was like years ago. It was like 2 years ago. It was like
I think it was one of the first episodes we did.
I reckon it was at least the first one of the first 50.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like the first year or two at the most of us doing the pod because we've been doing it for about 4 years now, something like that. Anyway, he was just really casually talking about how he used to like gut fish when he was a kid.
That is crazy.
And obviously I had a real big go at him when we were teenagers as well because he stayed over my house and I woke up in the morning and he like burst into my bedroom with my Irish and was like, man, I don't know what to do. I shot a duck. And I was like, why did you shoot a duck? And he was like, dunno. And I was like, well, take care of it. I was like, take care of it. And he was like, what do you mean?
These like impulses. But instead of being like, nah, I probably shouldn't do that. It just does it.
It makes me laugh as well because like
good.
Drew comes across as like a bit of a hippie. And don't get me wrong, he is a little bit with all like, the ayahuasca and he's like prone to like a hemp hoodie and obviously things like that. Do you know what I mean? But like to people that have known him like me and Josh know him. It's like, wait, mate. I know that people like me and Josh might come across as more like metally ones, and obviously I'm more like sort of like a Jim Broy metler and stuff like that. But when you know us in depth, Me and Josh wouldn't do that. Me and Josh would never just like gut a fish or just shoot a duck for no reason. And I'm all for like hunting for food. Like, you know what I mean? We've talked about this, in depth in the pod in the past about like hunting and our thoughts on that and different diets and stuff. And I think, look, if you are like hunting to eat, then that is like a natural thing. You know, you wouldn't begrudge a lion or a bear or a wolf or like an eagle for hunting to eat, right? So if you're killing an animal with the intent of eating it, then I think that's different. You're not like happy about killing the animal. It's like something that it's like sort of understanding that's natural. But if you're just like gutting a fish for no reason, then that's a bit
psychotic.
It's a bit Jeffrey Dahmer, isn't it? Not to mention is some of the things about. Do you remember where he was going on about how that time? What was he talking about? Was it the guy that he reckoned? What was it like? Didn't we? Remember that guy?
The guy who can absorb his own
reabsorb his own
the
wee.
Plant Man.
So he, so he didn't ever have to go to drink or go because he just reabsorbs his own.
Who is this man?
Oh, I don't know, some weird.
He had like a name. It was like the Wee Man or the Plant Man or something.
It was
like
very
that.
strange. Yeah.
We should try and get him on the pod.
And then, I remember as well having to like sort of like do a little disclaimer to our listeners as well to say like basically that we didn't endorse these views because Drew also was talking about. Remember there was that weird like hippie dippy like thing that went around for a while where like people were like they were like sunbathing their bums.
Oh,
their
anuses. I thought what?
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say staring at the sun.
Yeah, no, that was the same thing.
Oh.
But I think it was all mixed in. It was like this weird trend that was going around at the time for about a year. I can't remember if it was like 2001, 2002 or something. And it was like, 2021 or 2022, showing my age. But yeah, it was this weird thing going around. It was like sun gazing. People were like staring at the sun and they were also like spreading their cheeks. Like I heard that some people, it's like such a Californian thing to do, were like waking up in the morning and they were like spreading their butts to the sun. And then as a result, these like doctors and people had to come out and be like, look, your bums have not evolved to see the sunlight do you know what I mean? Because like, why would they? Because they're like in your butt crack. And as a result, apparently, they're sort of becoming almost like this epidemic of people having to go to the hospital with like severely burnt buttholes. And because the tissue around it is so sensitive, people were going in there with like 2nd and 3rd degree burns. Well, I don't know about 3rd degree burns, but like, I can't remember. Is it? No, 1st degree is the worst, isn't it? So I think, like 2nd and 3rd degree burns. So like,
no, 3rd degree is worse.
Is 3rd degree the worst, is it? You sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so people go in there with like 1st and 2nd degree burns to their buttholes into like the hospital because they'd been like bum gazing.
What is the supposed benefits of bum gazing?
I guess it's probably something to do with like vitamin D.
Yeah, but that's
would
just
be my like guess, but
literally it's like
just sort of waffle. You'd imagine.
So bad for your eyes, literally. Like it's like that's like how to try and go blind, basically.
But what's the bum?
Short of like stabbing yourself in the eye.
Like, what are the benefits of
I don't,
showing your butts to the sun?
Shall I try and Google it?
I don't know.
We'll come back.
I don't know. I'm not sure of your search.
We won't pull up the photos for that one.
Why did people bum gaze? Why did people bum gaze for a while?
Oh, see, I'm just happy. Just living my life.
We'll go
a
back.
little bubble. I don't want to. Why do people? Where these things come from?
I think the one thing you got to say for Drew is there's he said in the pod before he's very quick to believe things, Drew. But in a way, I think that must make the world so much more exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Drew would agree with that though, because he's done a lot of things in his life where it like ends up with him going like, "Oh man, why has this happened to me? Oh, I can't believe what I've done." And then he gets all like down on himself and he's like, "Why have I done this?" Like, "Oh man, do you know what I mean?" And it's like almost like comical to his friends, but it's just a bit like, "Oh, it's alright, man. Don't worry about it." It says here, sometimes people intentionally. This is so funny because this is an AI overview. You know, if you like type into something,
yeah.
People sometimes intentionally expose their buttocks to the sun, a practice called perennial sunning. Supposedly,
that's what it's called.
Supposedly it gives alternative wellness because some alternative wellness proponents believe it can provide health benefits like improved energy, circulation, and libido, based on the idea that the perineum, the area between the genitals and anus, is a key energy point that can be charged by sunlight. Mate, do you know what's so funny? What, yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say it's really funny because the other day I saw on like someone's socials something about perennial sunning or whatever.
Someone was bum gazing.
Well, no, I saw that, and I presumed it was like, you know, like you can like get your bum bleached, like anal bleaching.
Right.
I just presumed it was that.
That's
I
like,
didn't.
yeah,
But now I'm like, that's actually way more mental.
Yeah, it goes to say, like at the end, it's like, however, there is no scientific evidence to support these claims, and medical experts strongly advise against it due to the risk of skin damage from excessive sun exposure in such a sensitive area of the body.
Can you actually imagine going into hospital and saying, yeah.
Yeah,
I've been
bum gazing.
It's really funny as well because underneath
This
it
is
it has all like the, you know, like different paragraphs, and it's like potential for harm. Exposing the delicate skin of the perineum to direct sunlight can lead to sunburn, skin irritation, and potentially even skin cancer. It's like, mate, just don't look. Just when you wake up in the morning, just put your pants on like a normal person, all right, and go about your day. You know, obviously we all know that like a bit of sunlight's good for you, but I think it's important to remember as well. We can go really deep on this subject because remember, like sunlight, yes, it gives you vitamin D, but what the sun is essentially is a massive ball of radiation. So when you're in front of the sun, obviously the reason why the sun can give you skin cancer is because it's letting off radiation. So you know, like the same, and this is why it's important to make this point, because I feel like often, and obviously I'm generalizing, I'm not saying everyone, but often it's the same people that would waffle on about how bad, say, Hinkley Point is. Oh, nuclear power, mate. Oh, radiation. Oh, it's well bad, mate. No, you just want to like walk around the forest without your shoes on and like, you know, put your bum to the sun, yeah, right? Eat some kale. You know, it's like the same people that would like, you know, waffle on about how bad nuclear power stations are, that would then put their bum up to the sky, you know, like on like a 32 degree day, like spread your cheeks and try and frickin' sunburn your anus. But it's like radiation is radiation. Do you know what I mean? There are different different things give off different levels of radiation, but like, and I'm not even saying I'm not like Mr. Nuclear Energy. I'm not like saying I'm a massive proponent for it. I'm just saying it can be annoying sometimes when there's like hypocrisy in life, isn't there? When like, say, the same people that would go on about, you know, that would potentially give themselves sunburn literally on their bumhole from exposing their bums to the sun for like a prolonged period of time, might be the same people that would like even be like shirty with somebody because they work at something like Hinkley Point, or, you know, being like, we need to shut down the nuclear power stations, even though we know also that nuclear power is actually way greener than, say, when everything was running off coal, like it did in the Industrial Revolution.
Have you ever seen those like videos explaining exactly what like sunburn is? No. It makes you like never want to go in the sun again. I feel like I've seen them before and just been like, I'm going to turn this off.
I will avoid, because that's another extra thing for me to worry about. Yeah, so we're going to leave that one.
I think it's essentially just saying like what you were saying, man. That you're essentially just like nuking your skin once you get to the point of like sunburn, which is pretty insane to think about, like how harmful it can actually be.
Yes, because I said it's radiation. The sun is like, yeah, as I said, the sun is essentially like an insanely huge, just massive ball of radiation, isn't it?
Especially considering like almost how glamorized it is.
Yeah.
Like the idea of people going to like sunbeds and stuff like that, and just sort of.
Well, doctors do like
radioactive box.
Yeah, they strongly advise against sunbeds, don't they? They say that like sunbeds were like one of the worst things for like skin cancer that's like ever been invented, and it's the same reason why, you know, like we know that prolonged exposure to radiation, in regardless of what form it is, can have it cause cancer. You know, a much increased risk of cancer. So the same reason why, say, it would be dangerous to go near Chernobyl.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like when Chernobyl went off, I think it's still dangerous to this day, isn't it?
Alice has been to Chernobyl.
Yeah, I know. Did she have to like? She didn't have to like wear a suit though or anything, did she?
I don't think so.
No, I was going to say I think it's like relatively safe.
I guess it depends like where you would go. Like if you were going to go to the nuclear reactor, I think.
Oh yeah, but the fact that you can even just actually go to Chernobyl now, I think it's like major, because obviously for a long time it was like a no-go zone.
Is it Chernobyl? Sorry, completely branching off here.
Yeah.
Is it near Chernobyl where they've got like the catfish and they've all gone a bit weird?
They've gone like black, haven't they?
Yeah. And that's due to radiation exposure.
There's also though a type of fungus that has specifically evolved apparently in the Chernobyl reactor that feeds off radiation, and it's become this like super radiation fungus.
Oh, that's a bit scary.
But I think it's really cool because that just goes to show that nothing is stronger than nature, doesn't it?
I think
because even like nature, basically, it's like a type of fungus basically evolved, and it like eats the radiation. It's like, you ain't killing me, I'm going to eat you. You know, but how cool was that? But yeah, going back to what I was originally saying. Yeah, the same way that obviously like it would be dangerous to go to like say like Chernobyl, to like the Chernobyl reactor, because of obviously what happened back in the day. For like maybe the 1% of people that don't know, obviously the Chernobyl reactor basically went up, didn't it? I can't remember exactly what year it was, many decades ago now. And basically like it had effects not just on like the sort of 100-mile radius, like on like the whole world. Did you see that? I put something up on Pandora's Box Instagram stories the other day, and it was like the clouds, how the clouds were affected by the Chernobyl reactor going up, and like there was like rain in the UK from like clouds that had spread from Chernobyl, and like the rain that was falling in like say like Wales, in like rural Wales, had like high amounts of radiation.
Whoa,
even in the UK.
Rain.
Yeah, even
That's
in
crazy.
But apparently not even that. Obviously, because like relatively speaking, compared to say like the United States or like say China, we're much closer to Chernobyl. But apparently there was even like trace amounts of like extra radiation in places like the US and China.
That's crazy.
So it's basically there was nowhere in the world pretty much you could go to that there didn't have elevated radiation in some way or another.
Did either of you watch the Chernobyl documentary that came out like a few years ago?
When it was a documentary, was it like that show that came out on Netflix or something?
Maybe. I didn't
like
watch
we
it
did.
myself, but I remember like
I didn't see
people talking about it all the time.
Wasn't it like a docudrama?
Potentially. But I remember because some of the story of it is pretty insane. Like, wasn't it supposed to have been a much bit, like obviously it was a huge scale disaster, like the amount of people that lost their lives and had their lives altered. But it could have been like way, way worse.
Right.
But people essentially gave their life, I believe this is true, gave their life going into like waist high radioactive like sludge to like go, and I can't remember if they had to like retrieve another part of the reactor or like shut down part of the core. I'm not quite sure the terminology of what they did.
I think that does sort of like vaguely ring a bell. I'm by no means an expert on Chernobyl. I only know like the very, very basic facts. But I feel like I might have heard something like that.
Yeah, like a few
some
people,
very heroic people that worked there, like basically did damage control, essentially.
Yes, and gave their life in the process, which is pretty insane.
Friends of the pod.
Absolutely, we need to do some more. We need to do some more research, and then we can find out like the true story behind.
Yeah, like find out
one to focus on.
Find out their names and stuff like that. But
sorry, guys, I'm just going to interject. I need to leave because I need to go pick up our daughter from school.
Well, it's been lovely having you here.
Oh, it's been lovely being here, actually.
Nice little guest. We'll have to get you back in again, and we can just because that's gone so quickly as well.
It has gone super fast.
Yeah, really quick.
So you've almost been with us for like 40 minutes chatting.
Yeah,
you know?
it's been fun.
Yeah, it's been
I'd
really
definitely like
fun.
to come back. Actually, I'd like to talk about like
fungus.
I'd like to talk about fungus.
Is there anything you want to plug? I mean, obviously, you know, you've got a new career as an author after you wrote your award-selling, best-selling.
I wrote one story.
An insanely
a very short ghost story.
It was so good. No, let's think. This is what's annoying.
Victorian attire.
This is what's annoying about Emily, right? She downplays everything. I mean, I get not being able to sell herself. Like, I'm not a very good salesman, so I'm not very good at selling myself. But she like openly almost downplays everything she does. It's like, don't do that. That's like, you're like the anti-salesman. You know, like that. Don't ever listen to anything I say or buy anything that I do because it's awful. It's like, what are you on about?
Imposter
it's so
syndrome.
Good. Honestly, this book, as somebody that's read so much horror literature, it's such a good horror short story. I'm going to get it published whether she likes it or not because it's insanely good. It's like better than a lot of horror stories I've read by like acclaimed freaking horror authors.
Thank you very much, sir.
You have to come on and do like a full horror episode and speak about ghosts and stuff.
I'll come on in my Victorian outfit.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll do a pod as well, and I'll or maybe just like another like one-off show on AW Radio, or maybe we can even put it out on Pandora's Box, like the YouTube and Spotify and that, and I'll read out the story. And then maybe we could see if there's like a way of us maybe even getting like a little storyboard background or something. I don't know how much work that would take, but
you could even get like a little AI one made.
Yeah, we'll see because obviously it'd take a lot of work. But anyway, yeah, you've got to go.
Yeah, I have to shoot, but
don't worry,
very much,
just
guys.
shoot on.
It's been fun.
Bye bye.
Yeah, nice to see you, Emmy.
Bye
I'll
bye.
see you later.
See you later.
Do you want to move seats, Bullwinkle?
I will, man. I'll strategically move as you start speaking now.
People have been like, people that are watching on YouTube and Spotify and everything are like, oh my God, where's Bullwinkle? We want to see him.
Where's the Winkle?
We want to see the baby-faced assassin. See you later, Emmy. Yeah, don't worry. So, got a treat, ladies and gentlemen, today. For people that are listening on or watching on Spotify or YouTube,
Hello, everyone.
I can't see you, man.
Oh, what?
Well, you're just in the darkness.
What the hell?
Why is it in darkness, Bullwinkle?
Why is it in darkness?
Bullwinkle, I thought we were going to be able to see Bullwinkle. Instead, we just can't see anything. It's like a cable come loose at the back or something.
Maybe we should take a tactical break. And
you want to take a tactical break? Okay, we're going to take a tactical break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back in a second. All right. Oh, wait, no, we're not.
Oh, we're back.
We're back.
Made you stay, made you lose. Break.
No, we're just, we're trying to keep you on edge, guys. Just anything. You don't know what's going to happen, man.
Exactly.
Are we going to take a break? Are we not? We don't even know.
That's right. Tell your family about that one.
Yeah. So I know for all the people out there, we're thinking like, oh man, I just mainly tune in because I want to see the babyface assassin. I want to see the baby assassin face. Here he is. Don't worry, guys.
How's it going, peeps?
He is here. Why can't I hear myself? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You're fiddling with my headphones again.
I'm sorry.
He does it every single day.
We've got so many tactical issues in the...
It's so disconcerting for me because I think that if I can't hear myself, nobody else can hear me either. But for all of you, for all his adoring young female fans, mate, did you see that? I can't remember if it was on YouTube or what once, but there was once this like lady commented, this like young girl, and she was like, "Who's the guy? Who's like the young one? He's like really cute." And then I can't remember which one of our like subscribers it was, but they commented back and they were like, I think they just put, I believe they call him Bullwinkle, because I think she like asked what your name was, and it was just so funny, like. I imagine her just looking at Bullwinkle afterwards, just typing that in the search bar.
I want that to be, for the rest of my life. If anyone shows me any interest, I want the response to be, "That's the Bullwinkle."
Yeah. Mate, it should be.
Yeah, man.
It definitely should be. But yeah, we were talking about it's so funny because I literally started off the episode talking about this like over 40 minutes ago, and I've only just come back round to it again. I don't make any apologies.
We're not ashamed.
We had a nice little branch off talking about everything from bum gazing to Chernobyl to like social interactions and like social awkwardness and all this stuff. Anyway, to Wookie Hole and getting attacked by a squirrel. But we started off the episode by me talking about electrical faults we have sometimes. And it's really weird because the two people that use the studio, like 95% of the time, it's just me and the Bullwinkle.
That's right.
Okay, so we both record multiple shows in here every week. Just to give them a plug if anyone's interested, because obviously the vast majority of our shows don't go out on Spotify or YouTube. They just go out on the radio because they're more radio-style formats. What I mean by that is it's more us presenting music. So Bullwinkle has a rap show called Rap Radar that goes out Saturdays. Is it 6 p.m?
Sundays. 6.
Sorry, Sundays at 6 p.m.
Sundays 6 till 8.
I did actually mean say Sunday, but I'm just retarded. But Sundays 6 until 8 p.m. If you want to check out Bullwinkle's Rap Radar show. I have a rock / sort of grunge / prog / metal show that goes out on Friday at 9 p.m. called The Dark Dell on AW Radio. So any of you like rock, metal fans, you can check that out. We also have a show that we do together.
Absolutely.
That goes out on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. And it's replayed Sunday afternoons. Is that at 1 p.m?
That sounds about right to me.
I think it's either 1 or 2 p.m, but I think it's 1 p.m. Called Russian Roulette.
Pow, pow.
That's actually a real fun show.
That is a good show.
That's a real fun show. And it's like an anything goes show. So basically any music that we like, that we want to play, that doesn't fit into like a set genre. When I say a set genre, I don't mean it doesn't fit into a genre. I just mean that it doesn't fit in with the genres of some of our more specialist shows.
Yes.
Like I've just explained, Bullwinkle has a rap show, I have a rock show. Well, obviously we like lots and lots of different types of music. So if there's, say, sort of like an 80s pop song that I like, or a country track that I like, or some shoegaze. We both like shoegaze. It could be classical music. It could be anything. Right?
Essentially, it's just a way to like find what we're listening to at the moment.
Yeah. Just find little things, and we obviously just anything that doesn't fit in with some of our other shows, we'll play it there. But it's really fun for people that are just like more fans of music in general, rather than say like, like some people like they only like one genre of music, but they'll be like, oh, I hate rap and I hate rock, but I really like Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, it's for those people, they won't like the show, because it's all sorts of music. Like literally, you could listen to like 10 different genres of music in an hour.
That's right.
But for people that just like music and you want to find mixtures of like hidden gems, unknown artists, genres of all different types,
classics,
real like classics. Some of them are like best-selling tracks, or like chart-topping tracks, I should say. from back in the day or whenever, you know. So it's a real plethora of styles, genres. You know, as I said, some of the artists we play are like pretty much unheard of.
And if you're listening to this thinking that sounds good, you picked a good week, because this week we've got a fun episode coming out as well.
Yeah.
All about butterflies and bears. So definitely worth a good one to start on, I reckon.
Yeah, so it's like quite a funny theme. Yeah, so literally I just picked tracks that were all about bears or had some sort of bear theme. And Bullwinkle did the same with butterflies.
Yeah, that's right.
So if you want to hear, and all different genres of music, but just all about bears and butterflies. So if you like the animal kingdom, if you want to listen to some bear and butterfly tracks, then check that out. As I said, Wednesday 8 a.m. And also our AW Radio website has a feature where you can listen back to shows at any time. So if you can't listen to the show live because you're at work or you have some family commitment or social commitment, whatever, you can just listen back to the show whenever you want. Just go on AW Radio, depending on whether you're listening to us on our app. So we do have an app. If you don't have the AW Radio app, you can just go on the App Store, regardless of whether you're on Android or iPhone, whatever your platform is. Just go on like essentially whatever is your app store. Find AW Radio app, download that. You can use that to listen to our shows whenever you want and listen back to our shows, or just go on the Aspen Waite Radio website. On that, you can listen back to any of our shows at your convenience, 24/7. You know, so if you're at all interested, you know, there's nothing stopping you. Just check it out. So yeah, we have Russian Roulette. We have I have Darkdale. Bullwinkle has Rap Radar. We also do the Forest of Glebe together. That's a folk show. A lot of you long-time listeners will know that I'm really into my folk music. I play folk music myself sometimes. I've recorded some folk tracks, things like that. Obviously, we're just talking about how I played The Hobbit down at, you know, during my friend Darcy's wedding. That's essentially sort of like a piece of folk music, isn't it? Yeah, so I love that.
I got Scenarios, the show where I pick a different scenario each week and then pick the songs which I believe fit such a thing. Would you believe?
Yeah,
that's a really fun one.
Yeah.
Check it all out.
Yeah, check it all out, people. Yeah, say Scenarios, that's a cool one, because as I said, Bullwinkle has a different theme every week. So it could be like battle, that's your theme, and do you know what I mean? And then you just, loads of songs that are appropriate for that. It could be like space exploration. You literally have done like loads, haven't you, man?
I'm about 3 years into that one now.
Yeah.
So I think we're about 160 episodes in this week.
Wow.
To Scenarios. So we've been through quite a few.
Some of your scenarios are like hilariously abstract now.
Yes, yeah.
It's like going to the supermarket and there's no Watsits.
Yes. That feeling when the watermelons are sold out in Morrison's.
Oh, man. Yeah, and as I said, so, yeah, Scenarios is great. Forest of Glebe, if you want to listen to the best sort of fantasy and folk music of all time, check out the Forest of Glebe. That goes out Saturdays at 2 p.m. But as I said, once it's aired, you can listen to it back whenever you want on the AW Radio website. As I said, if you do like your fantasy music, if you do like your folk music, you know, I'm sort of like a folk music historian. If you want to call it that. Basically, I'm just really into folk music, so I know a lot about it. But, you know, I play, you know, some of the best folk music of all time and a lot of fantasy music as well. Great if you just want to sort of like chill out, especially if you're like a creator type, you want to stick something on while you're doing some arts and crafts, or while you're on a long drive and you just want to relax. Stick that on. Relax.
Man, we've almost got too many shows to plug. I feel like we've been.
Well, I think we've just come to. I think that's all of them now, isn't it? I think so. We haven't missed one.
I've got Claire's ones.
Oh yeah, and
Claire's
Mr. Cower.
Definitely worth
Mr. Cower and Tarot Tuesdays. So Bullwinkle does a show with Claire Stone. We had Claire on the pod as a guest. It was at least a year ago now, wasn't it? It was a while ago.
It's been quite a while.
Time flies, so it was always hard to remember. But Claire Stone, who is also I almost said wife then, not actually wife, but long time life partner of our good friend Josh the Gold, who was obviously on the pod recently. Bullwinkle's brother, one of my oldest friends from primary school and secondary school. And she came on the pod a long time ago, so you can check that episode out on Spotify, YouTube. Just go find the episode we did with Claire Stone. That was all about the supernatural, essentially, wasn't it? About the paranormal, supernatural. She's a clairvoyant. It was all talking to her about, you know, her thoughts on like the afterlife, ghosts, demons, blah blah blah, psychic activity, all of that stuff. That was a really interesting one. Whether you believe in it or not, it's interesting. It's
fascinating.
Check it out, because as I said, you know, I'm like a pretty skeptical guy, but I try and be open-minded as well. So it's interesting to talk to different people with different experiences, and then, you know, this is all giving you different information and different stimulus, which is helping you form a more well-rounded opinion in life, isn't it, guys? But yeah. Claire actually has her own show. She wasn't just a guest on Pandora's Box. She has Tarot Tuesdays, which, as you can imagine, goes out on Tuesdays.
Mm-hmm.
That's at 8 a.m, isn't it, I think?
That is indeed at 8 a.m.
And then on Thursdays, she has the Mystical, which also goes out at 8 a.m.
That is correct.
And yeah, just really cool. Talks all about, as you can imagine,
mysticism, astrology, spirits, whatever it may be. But yeah, definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, so check it, people.
Mm-hmm.
AW Radio, the place to be. Loads of other great, obviously, shows from different hosts as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
But anyway, getting back to what we were saying.
What were we saying? I can't even remember.
About the technical difficulties. Like we're saying.
We've done it again!
Man, this whole pod, we've been building up to this one story.
People are like, what? Oh my God, this
what the hell happened?
These technical difficulties better be interesting. Because at this point, they've been waiting almost an hour to listen to it. Now, what we were going to say is, so me and Bullwinkle are the ones that are in the studio 95% of the time, right? Recording our own shows. Mm-hmm. And then one of us two will be the last one in the studio every week, right? What I mean by that is like before the weekend starts. So I always record the Dark Dale on here on a Thursday. If I don't record the Dark Dale on here on a Thursday, I'll record it on a Friday. Bullwinkle will often record Rap Radar in the office on a Thursday or Friday. Whatever else he might want to record. But then sometimes we come in here on a Monday and all the settings on our desk are like messed up. I know you can't see it on the video, but we've got you've got a big desk here and there's lots of flashy lights. It's very confusing. I think Bullwinkle's going to give us an interactive tour.
Look at that.
Oh, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, you can kind of see. So, look, we have said desk here with, like, nodules and lights and stuff like that and little twiddly things here. So, when we come in on a Monday sometimes, the little twiddly things, as I was just explaining to you, sometimes are messed with. The sound's all weird. We put on our headphones. It doesn't sound right. The mics don't sound right. It seems like someone's messed with the desk. But it doesn't make any sense because nobody's been in it other than us. So, like, we don't really know what to make of that. Yeah, I mean, I really just don't know what to make of that. I don't even know what to say. I mean, for the whole, like, over 50 minutes, I've been building this thing up just basically for that, and I don't even know what to say about it.
No. But it is weird. I mean, I've spoken to Claire about, what spirits get up to mess with people, essentially. They're like a good prank, apparently, the spirits, Yeah. And a large thing they do is mess around with electronics, which seems to be what happens to us rather a lot. Yeah,
and Claire did say, I mean, as I said, all the skeptical people will be like, yeah, right, mate. And I don't blame you. Because, I mean, I don't necessarily believe or not believe myself. But take it for what you will. Claire says that this building, which is a very old Georgian era building, which was actually built by a man called Benjamin Holloway, who was an architect, back in the day, hundreds of years ago, and he built this house to live in. After he died, it became the mayor of Bridgewater's house. I think for a couple of consecutive mayors, it was the mayor of Bridgewater's house. And then I don't know what it became after that.
I don't know. Now the mayor of Winkletown.
Now the mayor of Winkletown's house. Yeah, so the most prestigious man yet. But Claire says anyway that this building is very haunted. And as Bullwinkle said, apparently ghosts like to tinker with it's a good word, isn't it? Tinker. All right, tinker. All right, little tinker.
All right, tinker.
That's what you call like a little cheeky lady.
A little spanner.
Yeah. All right, tinker. Like a little cheeky lady, like a little spanner. I'm thinking like, is that like a nickname for somebody? Oh, you little spanner.
You cheeky spanner.
But yeah, take it how you will. Claire says this place is very haunted. Our electrical desk. That sounds like an old man trying to explain something and trying to sound technical. This is my electrical desk. I know it's a bit technical, isn't it? But this is an electrical desk. Our desk here in the studio often seems like it's been like played with or messed up. The sounds all over the place, and we don't know what to make of it, people, because no human has been in here messing with it.
No,
that's all we can say.
Yes.
Okay, so we're not saying that ghosts have done it, but what has done it? Okay, It wasn't me. It wasn't Bullwinkle. Who has been messing with our desk?
My money's on the ghosts, man.
I reckon it was the ghosts.
My money's on the ghosts, I reckon.
I mean, who is it between other than that, really?
I don't know. It's not. The thing is, I know it's
Father
not me.
Christmas.
I know it's not you.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else comes in it. So
yeah, I mean, even
rather
if it was
strange.
Even if it was Father Christmas, we haven't got a chimney in the building.
That's a good point.
So how would Father Christmas get in?
You'd have to come through the window or something, but that'd be not very on brand.
Helen. Helen. Sorry, I got possessed then for a second. Yeah, I don't know, man. Can't blame it on the dinos.
We may never. No.
Can't blame it on the dinos, man.
Absolutely not.
I don't really know who else to even try and blame it on.
No.
You know? Who do we blame it on, man?
Plod.
Plod the battle gnome.
Plod battle gnome.
Plod the battle gnome is one of Bullwinkle's many avatars.
Yeah.
So on the forest,
my alter egos.
in the Forest of Glebe show, our folk show, Bullwinkle is Plod the battle gnome. Which is one of my preferred characters. Obviously, along with, Bullwinkle's like, Bullwinkle's a bit like Nescafe original. It's original and it's still the best.
Yeah.
But Plod is a close second to me.
I've got a lot of characters, man, at this point. DJ Chadwick Beefcake, Detective Stephen Smith. I've got Plod the battle gnome.
Who was your character before DJ Chadwick Beefcake? Because we had one as well, didn't we?
Was it Little Paul?
Little Paul!
Little Paul!
Little Paul!
Little Paul.
Yeah, people are like, what the hell? Yeah,
you were Angus Jobin.
I was Angus Jobin. Angus Jobin. Yeah, so I was like a Scottish man called Angus. Yeah, we find it fun to make different personalities up for our different shows.
Man, it's fun.
I think it's like, I think what it, comes down to is like, obviously growing up in the time era that I grew up in, and maybe in Bullwinkle to a lesser extent, certainly his brothers would have influenced him a lot, but it was like the heyday almost of like sketch comedy in the UK, and we had like Rick Mail, Harry Enfield, Paul Whitehouse. There was so many good like British comedians, obviously Rick Mail with like the young ones and Bottom and all of that, and like Harry Enfield and Chums, all that, Kevin and Perry and all that stuff. And I always found it like something so funny about just creating funny characters like they did. And just like doing stuff like radio is a really nice way to almost just like explore that fun. So yeah, for like every single show that we do, apart from with you and Rap Radar, I don't think. No. On Rap Radar, are you just Nathaniel Warren?
Yeah, I'm just me.
Boring.
Yeah, boring old. But I'm a character in itself, perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah, but literally, this is the only show where I'm just myself.
Yeah.
Every other show I do, I've got some weird alter ego.
Man, it's so much fun.
Eldritch Oddbod is my one in Darkdale. Yeah. What was it? Bertram Codsworth on Russian Roulette.
A distinguished gent.
The Wizard Meeb on the Forest of Glebe. I used to be Angus Jobin. Angus Jobin on Russian Roulette. And also there was a time in the Darkdale show where in the storyline of the Darkdale, the ongoing sort of like background storyline, Eldritch Oddbod's father, what was his name? It was like Jerry and Perry. Jerry, I think I was Jerry.
Yeah.
So Jerry, my father, who I never knew, made a pact with a demon to swap places with me on the morph plane. So he sent Eldritch Oddbod to hell, and then Jerry took his place. So I was Jerry for a while on the Darkdale, and every single week I'd present the Darkdale like this, and I'd be like, "Hello everyone, you're listening to the Darkdale. I've just been out for a drive in my Ford Cortina, but I've got some great metal tracks for you this week." And I would just do that every single week until eventually Eldritch Oddbod broke free from his cage, and then managed to swap places with his father again.
If you were given like a couple mil to change accent for the rest of your life, do you reckon you'd be able to just keep it up? But like if you strayed from that accent, you lose the you lose the 2 mil.
Yeah, but what if you've already spent it?
The item's just gone. So like how long do you reckon you'd be able to keep that up?
Not long.
No. I wonder if like after a couple years of doing it, if you could make it to that point where say 3 years in, you've just been doing the accent
getting
the whole
to the 3
time.
years, man.
Yeah.
I have no doubt. I completely agree with you. I think if you did it for 3 years, it would just become your accent.
Yeah.
But to get that first week out of the way, I think when you're tired, when you're disorientated, if you're in a bad mood, you mutter something under your breath. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? You say you wake up in the morning, your missus says something to you. You say something when you're like really groggy.
Yeah, and then your new bed disappears.
Oh man, your house just disappears.
Yeah,
you're just like naked on the concrete.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa! Yeah, that would suck balls, man. That would suck. Yeah, I don't reckon I could keep it up for long. I don't even reckon I could keep it up for a day.
You don't reckon? You don't reckon you could go in fully in character for a full day, and just keep an accent? I reckon.
I would want to. It's not like I would be unwilling.
Yeah.
I just don't know if I could plausibly
slip up.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think I would slip up. Yeah. I think it would be too hard. As I said, I think if you could do it for 3 years, then by that point it would just become me accent.
Yeah.
To them seeing lad. But like I think to get to that point, it would just be too hard.
Yeah. Do you remember that guy who played Elvis in that movie, Austin Butler?
No.
So he was the Elvis actor in the Elvis biopic. And he like obviously replicated his accent, and he was doing that accent for I guess so long while he was filming that after he was filming, he said it took him like a year to get out of the accent because he was just like Elvis then for the rest of the year pretty much.
That's mental. Did you ever hear about that woman that had a head injury and then I think she was in a coma for like a couple of weeks and she woke up and she was completely fine apart from the fact that she had an uncontrollable Chinese accent.
What?
Yeah, man.
That's mental.
Yeah, man. Can people hear what's going on from the left monitor if I
Should
play
be able
something?
to,
Yeah? Right, so I'm going to try and get her up because I remember it was on like the news and stuff. So this was a British woman. This isn't a joke, by the way. This is completely real. There was a British woman. I believe she had some sort of head trauma. And then, as I said, she woke up, was completely fine, other than the fact she has an uncontrollable Chinese accent. I think it was a Chinese accent.
That's insane.
British.
Like, there's like some subconscious thing going on there where, I mean, obviously you would remember what a Chinese accent is like, but to randomly just only be able to replicate it, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah, this woman woke up sounding Chinese. This is it. Right, let me play this for you guys.
Sarah has spent most of her life in Plymouth and had the accent to match until recently.
So, fish and chips. Chips. I said that right? Yeah.
3.5 years ago, she was rushed into hospital with a migraine, which left her with a voice she didn't recognise.
I have not actually heard my voice in a conversation for nearly 3 years now.
Just to put the
Her
perspective, this is just a normal white woman from Plymouth.
From a bank telephone recording.
Good afternoon, thank you for calling.
Was to long for her old accent to return.
Yeah, I'm not actually ringing about my policy though. I'm ringing for a quote. Do you still want my policy number?
I know it's me, but I feel like I want to say, oh, she make a good speak. She speak a good. But like that, not me no more.
That's not me no more.
Mate, that's insane.
Sarah has been diagnosed with foreign accent syndrome. The condition has only 150 known cases worldwide.
Although it's called foreign accent syndrome, it's literally a speech impediment. There's nothing foreign about it. Obviously I don't have a Chinese accent. I've never been to China. You'd have to spend a considerable amount of time in China to pick up the accent. So it's impossible.
Deep mud, tough nut, night bus.
Although she doesn't know why this has happened, months of speech therapy with specialist Martin Duckworth at Marjohn's in Plymouth have provided some insights.
I actually feel quite comfortable with my speech
Yeah, I love
now.
how we're just watching this video. No, we're not even like reacting or anything.
Yeah, so we'll stop playing it there. But yeah, basically, and also just to cover our butts. So that was a scene from BBC News. Okay, yeah, so that was BBC News. The unscrupulous British broadcasting company.
Channel. Something like that.
Company, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
British Broadcasting Company?
That makes more sense.
I think it
say.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know. But I think that's what it is.
Do you know what I find even more fascinating about that? It's not even just the accent, but like at times then she's speaking in broken English.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like she's forgotten not
I
only
know exactly
the
what you mean.
accent, but then also the way to like put the words to the sentences.
Like she's not only speaking in a Chinese accent, she's speaking like a Chinese person that doesn't know how to speak English fully.
Yeah.
Like, they know how to speak English about 80%, but not like the way the words that she was choosing to use. I completely agree, man. It's a fascinating thing, but it's mad to think that could happen. Like, what the hell? Like, how does that even happen?
Yeah, that's crazy.
How do you like bang your head and then wake up one day like, how are I am Calum?
Mate, that's insane.
Just grew up in Plymouth all her life, and you could hear her voice on that like voice call from how she sounded before, and she just sounded like like any other woman in Plymouth.
They say 150 cases.
Yeah, worldwide.
Yeah,
that's
pretty.
That's
mental.
a shockingly small amount. Considering how many billions of people are on the planet.
Yeah, it's insane. That's crazy. I don't even know what to say about that, man. Do you know it's just mental.
Do you know what I found out the other day, which I thought was mental?
What's that, man?
I can't remember it like to the day, but did you know that like 1 billion seconds is like something like 33 years?
Whoa.
That just goes to put into perspective how like massive 1 billion is.
Yeah.
I think that's right. I think it was like 33 years. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Some smart Alex gonna look it up, and they're gonna be like, no, it's not. It's actually 34. How many years is 1 billion? 31 years and 8 months.
Man. Search up how many a million is in comparison.
It's like nowhere near.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I think, like, there's like a much bigger difference between like a million and a billion than I think that some people would realise.
Yeah.
I think a million is only something like something crazy like 11 days.
Because what is a billion? 1,000 million?
I think so.
Yeah. That's pretty insane.
Yeah. How many years in 1 million? Let's look this up then. 1 million seconds. Oh, mate, it's even less than I thought. What? 1 million seconds is 11 days, 13 hours, 46 minutes, and 40 seconds.
Mate, that's crazy.
So, yeah, let's just say for just for the ease, let's say that 1 million seconds is roughly 11 and a half days, right? And then a billion is over 31 years. That's crazy, isn't it? What a difference.
Insane.
That just goes to show, don't you think that makes it even more mental as well? When because obviously you hear about like millionaires and stuff, and you think like millionaires, you think like, wow, that's like so rich. And don't get me wrong, obviously, yeah, it is. Like being a millionaire is like, that's insane. Like, I mean, you could only obviously dream of having that amount of money. Not because I think it's obviously good to be materialistic or shallow, but let's face it, you have a much easier life if you've got money. You can look after your loved ones. It's easier to explore the world via going to nice places on the planet, preferably ones that are safe. Plane tickets, cars to go places, a nice home that you and your family can live in, nice food to eat. Nice food tends to be more expensive. I could go on. Anyway, but it's mad to think that there are billionaires out there, like obviously Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, lots of Saudi Arabian princes and stuff that like we don't really know how much they have because I don't think they have to declare it. I can't remember the reasons why they don't. But apparently there's lots of like Saudi Arabian oil barons and like princes and stuff that are like that apparently are richer than Jeff Bezos and maybe like Elon Musk and that. Even though technically on paper, they go back and forth, don't they? Bezos and Elon Musk, and like who's the most intelligent? The most wealthy. But I think it's like they are the most wealthy on paper. There might be people that are more wealthy.
Was it net worth? Is that like what they judge it off? Like
well, I think, but yeah, I mean, it might be, but I don't think it's even just that. It's just that like certain people don't have to declare their wealth.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say. It's a bit like saying like, I guess in that regard, it's a bit like Usain Bolt's the fastest man that ever ran. He is technically on paper, and he might actually just be, but there might just be someone out there that's never ran for sport or athletics that might be faster. Do you know what I mean? It's like a similar thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I remember they found some fossilized footprints or like semi-fossilized footprints in the Amazon jungle a few years ago now, and they were strides from somebody that had been running, I think, in clay.
Right.
And then the type of like clay or sediment, whatever that person had been running in, however, it was in the early stages of fossilization.
Right.
And as a result, scientists could measure their stride. And they realised from their stride, from their gait, they can calculate how fast that person would have been running. And I think they calculated that they were running it as fast, if not a bit faster than Usain Bolt.
Mate.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's ridiculous.
That's mad, isn't it?
That's insane.
It would have been some like crazy like Aztec hunter or like Aztec warrior running through the jungle like at like nearly 30 miles an hour. Can you freaking believe that?
Man, that's amazing. Do you know what I found really fascinating that I saw recently?
What?
I think it was Mr. Beast who went into...
I think I was going to say Mr. Bean then. Mr. Bean. I think it was old Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Rowan Atkinson. Yeah.
I think it was Mr. Bean.
Shout out Mr. Bean, by the way. Rowan Atkinson. What a legend of British comedy.
Absolutely. Mr. Beast, I believe, got access to like one of the like pyramids, like an Egyptian pyramid. So he was like, allowed to go inside one.
How the hell did he get access to that? I thought it was illegal.
I don't know. I don't know if it was the Great Pyramids.
Do you reckon he just paid him off?
Probably.
Or do you reckon it was just because it was like a bit of a rubbish pyramid? It's like, it wasn't a great pyramid, it was a rubbish pyramid.
I wonder if because he's like I think when you've kind of got that pull that he has, like the biggest YouTuber in the world.
Yeah.
Like maybe even the country itself would be like, if Mr. Beast comes to Egypt and films around the pyramids, it's going to be... I don't know. That's going to bring tourism in. That's going to bring people that are more interested in. I'm not sure, but I would imagine that's like part of it as well. Because you would think even like with the other ones, he would have had to get permission from like their government or whatever to actually go and check it out. Because I think he's hired out the pyramids for like a video.
Right.
But he went inside, and inside the actual pyramids there was like graffiti that was in hieroglyphs that was just written by like people that had built it, and it was like, this part was built by the gang of, I don't know, whatever their like group was called. But how insane is it that they were able to just write something in stone that still just lasted that long, like for over 4,000 years?
Mate, it's crazy, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. Like, we couldn't do that now, could we? If I was just to like write in chalk, or like, or I don't know, carve into a. I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's different though. That's drawing. You're talking about carving. That's different.
Yeah, but it was like red. That almost made me think it was like painted or something like that.
Well, they probably carved it and then painted it after, don't you think?
Yeah, potentially. Yeah,
probably like for aesthetics.
Yeah,
because they say, don't they? I know that they say that like all of like the pyramids and all the hieroglyphs would have been much more colourful back in the day. Some of them still do have some, like little like flecks of paint on it, but a lot of them have just eroded, haven't they, due to like weather damage and other types of damage.
Because the top would have been gold, wouldn't it?
The tops of the pyramids were gold. I don't know if all of them, the Great Pyramids.
Yeah.
Or was it just the Great Pyramid?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Fascinating. Was it just the Great Pyramid of Giza? I can't remember if it was just the one. But yeah, they would have had like a gold pit top. That's amazing, isn't it? But yeah, I know what you mean. I think in general things just aren't made to last nowadays.
Yeah.
Are they?
No.
And I think it's a bit sad, don't they? Like even like say the difference in building quality, like this building is several hundred years old. The house that I live in as well, it's an old little cottage, little Stegursey cottage, and like the walls are like really hard. Do you know what I mean? Like if you punch the wall as hard as you could, the only thing that would happen is you break your hand.
Yeah,
there would be no like impact on the wall.
Yeah,
whereas you go to like a new build, like relatively easy to put. If you're like a big strong person, like hit how to hit, you could just punch through the wall, couldn't you?
I do love that like almost ongoing trend, I guess, that's going on of like rejecting modernity. Yeah, of like almost embracing traditionalism, and like particularly with buildings. Like think how cool it is when you go to a country that's just got amazing architecture, like Greece. Even going to like Greece or like Italy. Barcelona sometimes is like, you go across and it's just like all gargoyles and like amazing
Gothic architecture.
Exactly, amazing Gothic architecture. Man, imagine how much more interesting.
What's that amazing cathedral again?
That today. Sagrada Familia.
Yeah, it's like this epic cathedral, isn't it, in Spain? It's in Barcelona. Yeah, it's insane. I've never actually been. Actually, I have a weird feeling I did. Oh man, I'm so bad with things like this. I think I was going to say I don't think I've ever been there. I think I did go to it briefly when I went on a cruise once, and I think we docked in Spain, and we got like a little coach to go there. But I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time, right? And I didn't probably appreciate it as much as I should have done.
Man, it's by far the most like amazing architectural achievement I've ever seen in my life. Like I feel like it's quite rare, but it can happen that a building or a cathedral, for example, like I know you've said about like York Minster Cathedral before, can just leave you like starstruck. Oh yeah. It's the exact same with Sagrada Familia, man. It's amazing, especially inside. Yeah, like the actual there's a bit underneath the church, which is where the church is. Like the church itself that you can walk around and like look in. It's massive. It's insane. Like all inside, it's just amazing carving and like I don't even know how to describe it. Just creativity. Yeah. But then that's not even that's not even all of it. It's just fascinating, man. To be able to like build something over that period of time as well. Like, it's been over 100 years and they've still not finished. That's crazy.
Is it still not finished now?
Still not finished, man.
I thought it had just finished.
It finishes, I believe, 2026.
Oh, so they've like announced when it's going to finish.
I think so.
I thought I heard something about it either being finished. Or
it's very close to being finished. But
that's so cool. Isn't it? Who was it as well? Was it like Gaudi? Yeah, Gaudi the architect. Yeah. That's amazing, isn't it? I know that Em like loves it. She's been there and she said it like left her like awe inspired, like absolutely like in awe.
Yeah, you would love it, man. You would love it. But I just think it's cool that people are bringing that back. I saw recently actually a video of a I guess modern church that had been built in a traditionalist style. May have been I think it was maybe in like Russia or something like that. Right. But it was the point of the video essentially was just proving how we can still make stuff like that to this day, and almost more impressively. Yeah. Because well, on
paper we should be able to, because all of those guys did it with hand tools.
Yeah.
We've got power tools and frickin' diggers and stuff like that,
Exactly. And it was just a video of this like cathedral in some country, I can't really remember. but it looked like awe-inspiring, man. So like, I just wish we could still. I wish we did that like around.
I think
here.
the thing is I think this often people go for the cheapest option.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's much cheaper to build a building that's made out of like plaster and cardboard and stuff than it is that's made out of like thick stone. Also, it's getting things to site. Obviously, it requires a lot of transportation. So transportation, money. I also think because there are a lot more buildings in general, the more buildings you have, the less money you're going to put into every single building. Do you know what I mean?
I guess it was such like a quick process of like needing to build. Like there was a huge boom, wasn't there, in population like rather rapidly. So you'd imagine there was a lot of houses that needed to be built on a very short time.
Well, there still is. It's one of the biggest, obviously, problems in our country at the moment. Obviously, different political parties argue what the cause is, but the fact of the matter is that we need to build houses at a rate that isn't sustainable.
Yeah.
Well, there's our population is growing at a rate that are basically the builders can't keep up with in terms of houses. And also, it's obviously every time that you need to build a house, it's not just like, oh, I'll build one here. There's an issue of like where you're going to build it. You need to get permission, or who owns, I need to buy this field off a farmer or something. Well, only if the farmer's willing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like there's a lot of problems with it, isn't it? So I think it would have been different back in the day because say much smaller populations. If a big building, and I think there would have been a big sort of discrepancy between there would have been like more like your public buildings, like big cathedrals, big churches. In obviously Rome, they had Roman baths. In Greece and Rome and stuff, they had like their amphitheaters and theaters, things like that. So these would have been like places that would have a lot of effort would have gone into. And I think the general private dwellings would have probably been still of good quality in terms of like the workmanship on the walls and that, but a lot simpler.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That does make sense.
I think that's probably the case. But going back to what you were saying though, obviously I think when people think of like Greek buildings and Roman buildings, I think I don't know if it's limestone, but you know that like the stone that they use is very white, and people are always like even in like old drawings, it's often depicted as like there were these like white buildings. You think of like the Pantheon and stuff like that, and stuff like that. But they say actually they would have been very colourful because the Greeks and the Romans, once the buildings were up, they used to paint them. Yeah. So back in the day, and one thing that's quite cool is you've been to Pompeii, haven't you?
I have indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've both been to Pompeii, and obviously where that was essentially like preserved, almost like a time capsule. Because of the eruption of obviously Mount Vesuvius, which then buried Pompeii for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's almost like a time capsule, isn't it? And you can see all the paint. Obviously, it's like it's like scraped away and that, but there's a lot of paint, isn't there? Around Pompeii? Man.
I couldn't believe how big Pompeii was.
Massive, isn't it?
It's ridiculous. It's like the size of like Bridgewater.
Mate, it's crazy. Humongous.
Yeah.
I remember like I got like a bit lost at one stage. Dude.
Yeah.
I was so glad I had the freaking map on me because obviously you can just wander off, can't you? And there was like nobody else around because it's so big. There was like a lot of tourists there, but it's just the town of Pompeii was so big that like I was just sort of off on my own. Well, I was with Emily, but it was like 34 degrees that day. I think there was like a heat wave in Italy, and obviously like around Pompeii, it's like very hot anyway in summertime. And then on top of that, there was a heat wave, so it was like 34, 35 degrees or something. Yeah. And we were baking, and we were like sort of hiding in the shade. We were like, right, we had the map up. We were like, there was like one shop in Pompeii, you probably went to it as well, where you could like buy drinks and snacks and that. And we was like, right, we need to get here. But it was like a 20-minute walk from where we were. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's not like it's a couple minutes
such
down
uneven floor as well. I remember being so scared that I was gonna like roll an ankle or something like that when I went there, but still so cool.
Did you go in the gladiatorial arena?
We did.
That's so cool.
We did, yeah. And, like seeing all the bodies and stuff as well, man. Just crazy.
Mental. Like the calcified corpses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy, isn't it?
Insane.
That's more of like the sort of museum-y bit inside, isn't it?
Something else I saw that was like fascinating about Pompeii. I saw this just the other day, actually. Did you see about that scroll?
No.
That
they found this in Pompeii?
They've got a scroll from Pompeii that was like burnt to ashes. It might be worth seeing if you can like find it on there, man.
Right.
But recently, so they've not obviously the scroll just looks like a block of charcoal, like it essentially just looks like a rock because it's so like burnt to a crisp. But I think they've been preserving it for quite some time until now, where AI is actually deciphering what was on the inside of the scroll without ever having to even open it.
Wow, this is one of the good things about AI. I'm quite wary, I should say. Wary, not weary. I'm wary of technology in a lot of ways, as I'm sure a lot of friends of the pod by now have figured out. and I don't use AI myself. I do like appreciate, some of my work colleagues like yourself, like Drew and that, do sometimes use AI, and to great effect. But I stay away from it myself. But I do appreciate some of the things. So yeah, the funnily enough, the AI overview of me typing in Pompeii Scrolls Deciphered is, it says, using artificial intelligence and other technologies, researchers have recently decoded the first full passages from ancient scrolls buried in the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. Oh man, almost 2,000 years ago.
Insane.
The scrolls were found in Herculaneum. So yeah, that's just like the basic information of it. But that is insane.
Man, it just the fact that they can even like I just don't understand it. Like, how can you scan like essentially just a rock and be able to tell like what marks would have been written on the scroll and what the language would have been, and being able to actually get a full scroll out of it?
Yeah, that's
insane. That's one of the best uses of AI I've ever seen, I think.
Oh man, 100%. So I think I found an article talking about what has been. Oh no. This. I'm not sure if this is the same thing. It might be actually. Let me find it. So this says, give me 2 seconds, people. I'll be almost. Yeah. So it says. Oh, this is a shame. Scholars searching the transcribed fragments for lost works of literature have largely, unfortunately, been disappointed. A few pieces of Latin works were discovered, including parts of the Annales or Annales by Quintus Aeneas, a 2nd century BC epic poem about the early history of Rome, and Carmen di Bello Actiaco, which tells of the final hours of Mark Antony and Cleopatra. The vast majority of the open scrolls contain Greek philosophical texts relating to the ideas of Epicurus, an Athenian philosopher in the late 4th and early 3rd centuries BC, who believed that everything in nature is made up of atoms too small to see. Some are by Epicurus himself, such as a piece of On Nature, as it's called, a huge work that was previously known but lost. Okay, so that's cool. So they found a whole piece by Epicurus. Cool. But most are by Philodemus, an Epicurean employed by Piso in the 1st century BC, and cover Epicurus's views on ethics, poetry, and music.
That's cool.
That's very cool. Yeah, it goes on and on, but look it up yourselves, people. Maybe we'll look into it a little bit more. We'll look for anything, if there's anything worthwhile mentioning on the pod. But yeah, go look it up. Pompeii Scrolls Deciphered. Interesting stuff anyway. But that's crazy. I mean, to me, that's a good use of AI.
Absolutely.
That's a good use of technology, in my opinion.
I love that there's lost knowledge out there that we still might be able to find.
Oh man, of course.
That's just incredible.
I love the fact that like every single day, somebody in the world, whether it's a zoologist, some doctor somewhere, whatever it is, discovers something new. Yeah. Some archaeologist, some paleontologist, might be a new species of dinosaur, might be a new species of insect that's currently alive. Might be some ancient scroll or tablet is found, like when they found like the deep sea scrolls and things like that. Do you know what I mean? Or it might be some groundbreaking piece of AI that means that for the first time, or technology that means that for the first time we can decipher something that we might have even had for like hundreds of years in some museum, but up until this point we've never been able to decipher or something. It's amazing, isn't it?
It is.
I think part of what makes life fun and enjoyable, at least to me, is just the never-ending questions and just interesting bits of information.
I think it's really good that there are so many questions out there unanswered as well.
Yeah.
Like, I think there would almost be, if there was no mystery to life, there would be no excitement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's exciting to not know what all of our history was, because it leaves gaps for imagination.
Oh, yeah. And it's like they say, isn't it? It's like, even whoever the most intelligent person, I say that, I think, I was going to say whoever the most intelligent person on the planet is right now. And I was going to say they might be sat in some little hut somewhere in the middle of nowhere and we just haven't even heard of them. But I think the thing is as well with that, without trying to branch off too much, obviously there's different types of intelligence, isn't there? So I don't know if there is like just one most intelligent person, because I think that the more deeper you get into specific skills as well, the more it becomes a matter of apples and oranges. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there might be some insanely, like some off the scale computer scientist. But then there could be somebody that's just pure trivia. Yeah. Their pure general knowledge is like off the scale. And then you could have like a Rachel Riley, Carol Vorderman type mathematician, high level quantum physicist who might be able to do the most insane mathematic equations in like mere moments, but they might not have even known that like Napoleon was born in Corsica, not in France.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it really depends.
Absolutely.
But anyway, what was I going to say? I can't remember now. Oh yeah, I was going to say, even the most intelligent people on the planet, there's always far, 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 far more that they will never know than they will know.
Yeah.
Even for like the top 10 most intelligent people on the planet, there's always far, far more that they will not know. Because it's almost like, and I think it's quite cool actually, they show this, even though it's a rubbish movie, at the end of the 4th Indiana Jones movie, which was basically when it started going rubbish. And it was the Crystal Skull.
Right.
And Cate Blanchett's in it. Love Cate Blanchett. And obviously Harrison Ford starring as Indiana Jones. At the end of the movie, I think it's Cate Blanchett's character. Spoiler alert, everyone. She's like the bad guy in the movie, and I think she finally gets the crystal, and like there's this Aztec temple, and it's all going mental. And it turns out it was built by the aliens and that. And then I think she gets like one wish, and she wishes for something like all the knowledge in the universe. But it's one of those. Indiana Jones is really good at doing this as well. It's often like a "be careful what you wish for" type thing, isn't it? Like basically, we're humans at the end of the day. We should almost be like respectful and humble about the fact that we're humans, and there's only so much we can even handle, and our brains can even comprehend before we eventually will just like basically die,
just
die. You know. And the movie shows that really well. And basically, it's almost like at first she's like, yes, and just getting all this information, and then it just there's almost like a turning point, and then she's like, no, just make it stop. But by that point, she's already asked for the wish, and then literally her eyes like burn out of her skull, and she just dies.
Yeah.
Because I guess it's like, as a human, it's like you get to a tipping point, and as I said, we're just like monkeys, man. You know?
Absolutely,
There's
man.
only so much that we can know.
I think if you ever have like a really constructive day where you like learn loads of stuff, you do feel fried at the end of it. You feel like your brain has gone through an exercise.
Well, there's only so much information your brain can process.
Yeah.
In a day, isn't there? You know, and then you just end up just sort of like going to mush, don't you? You just sort of like, oh, I've had enough now. I need to do something very basic. I need to like go for a walk, or I need to watch some like very simple like comedy show on telly.
Yeah.
Or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just like, you know, just do something like that. Just like to sit down and like eat a sandwich. You know, something that's just really bog standard. That's not going to tax me too much. You know. But yeah, man, fascinating stuff. What a world we live in, man. What a world.
What a wonderful world.
What a wonderful world we live in. Have you seen that? Apparently the JFK assassination and the Martin Luther King Jr. Assassination files apparently are about to be declassified.
I have, and man, I cannot wait to find out what's going on there.
That's insane, isn't it? Can you believe after all these decades, it's been such like obviously a major topic of discussion and like conspiracy theories for so many decades now. And then, the files are going to be declassified. I hope we're not disappointed. I hope it's not just like some really... But at the same time, I'm thinking, why would they have only be declassified now if they didn't have some sort of nitty-gritty information? Because surely there was a reason to classify them in the first place.
That's what you'd think, isn't it? Yeah. Unless
there's some just sort of like government procedure technicality that we're not aware of, where like certain documents, if they're about certain subjects, maybe relevant to like political figures or something, means that by default certain things have to be classified for a certain amount of time. But if that was the case, surely people that know far more about the subject than us would know that and would have said that before and be like, look guys, this isn't a conspiracy, this is just the norm. This is just the norm with these sort of things.
I almost feel like, man, and I'm not a very conspiracy-based person, to be honest, but if it all came out, right, and there was nothing in the files that were like vaguely interesting, or was like, oh, so that's why it may have been classified, or that's... I would almost go as far as to say something's definitely been taken out of that. Yeah. Would you agree? Like, if there has to be a reason why they kept it so stush for so long, you know? So stush.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think, like, you know, I think it's very important to sort of stay level-headed and balanced in life as much as we can. And I think, you know, it's like, as we said, like, neither of us are particularly conspiracy theory minded. What I mean by that, like, don't get me wrong, I'm fascinated by conspiracy theories.
Yeah, me too.
And I always have been. But I will need convincing evidence of a conspiracy theory before I start to actually think that it's likely. I'm not just going to be like jump on some sort of bandwagon of conspiracy theories, you know. And a lot of things, I think it's always the best bet is just to say I don't know, because I think if you're not being arrogant and stuff, yeah, we don't know. Why would we, as two guys from Bridgewater, accurately know what happened to Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's obviously lots of information we can ascertain, that we can gather, and we can read it, and we can sort of. But I still think that there's not enough information to make an accurate guess as to what happened. Personally,
yeah.
Right. Now, obviously, there'll be people out there that disagree with me, and that's fine. But yeah, we need to remember that about, I would say, 1 in 10 conspiracy theories turn out to be true. Maybe more. Maybe like 1 in 7 even.
Yeah.
So, while I think it's good to stay stay grounded, maybe back off a little bit on believing conspiracy theories until there's good enough evidence. We need to remember that quote unquote conspiracy theories, sometimes they turn out to be true. Remember Agent Orange we talked about on the pod?
Yeah.
About all that freaking like it was like, I can't remember if it was like a gas. It was like a gas, wasn't it? That was being used in Vietnam and stuff like that, which was like, that was crazy. We talked about that on a pod ages ago. Agent Orange, yeah, I think it was actually in the title of the pod as well. So if you want to listen to that episode, scroll back through our YouTube or our Spotify shows, and you'll find, just look for the episode that says Agent Orange. I couldn't tell you when we did it. It was at least a year ago.
Yeah,
it was
quite a while.
It was definitely in the first 100 episodes we did.
Yes.
Probably first 70 even.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like Agent Orange talked about that. So yeah, sometimes conspiracy theories turn out to be true.
Man, and there's so many ones that you hear. Like, what was the brainwashing one? Do you know the one I'm on about?
Oh, yes. What was it called? The thing is,
but they gave people loads of LSD and stuff, and were essentially trying to brainwash them. And
what was that called? The thing is, there's so many different names like the one that we're trying to think of that are running around my head. Sometimes it's hard to differentiate between them. Do you know what I mean? It was because obviously there was the Philadelphia experiment, which we talked about on the pod before, which was when they tried to play with supposedly supposedly teleporting people. The one with psychedelics was called Project. Was it Project something or Project? And there was Project Blue Book, but I don't think that's not
MK Ultra.
MK Ultra.
MK
that's
Ultra.
it.
There we go.
MK Ultra.
Yeah. You read stuff like that and you think, how messed up is that? And it almost then gives you fuel to be like, man, if that's true, then some of these other stuff could be, or some other crazy stuff could be going on that we've got no idea about.
Well, yeah, because that turned out to be that whole MK Ultra thing was 100%. That happened. That was a fact. And same with Agent Orange, 100% fact. And also, I think we talked about this on the pod as well. There was that one where the US government were essentially trying to frame Cuba. Do you remember? They were trying to frame Cuba and trying to say that Cuba did something, this crazy thing, and essentially didn't American officials essentially cause a terrorist act on their own country, in their own town or something, caused to the death of US civilians, so that they could blame Cuba. I can't even remember what their goal was now.
Yeah,
something something to do. Obviously, it was during the Cold War, and Cuba were on the side of the Soviets and that. But yeah, what were you gonna say?
Did you ever see the video of that? I think he was with the CIA potentially in America,
right?
And it was an interview of this guy, and they were asking him has America ever gotten involved with other countries politics or swayed an election? And he almost just laughs. He's like, well, I can't say no or something like that. And they're like, right, I mean, is that something that it happened but isn't happening anymore? He was like, well, you never know. It was something almost implying that it still just is going on, whatever's going on.
That's mad, isn't it?
Pretty
crazy, man. Yeah, nuts. Did you this isn't a conspiracy theory, but it's just it reminded me because we were talking about these different names like MK Ultra and Blue Book and Philadelphia Experiment, all these different things. Did you hear about during World War II what was called America's Ghost Army?
No.
This was super cool, man. Unfortunately, it's not supernatural. But so America started employing this tactic called the Ghost Army, and it worked to massive success. And I think the British started doing it as well once the Americans had started doing it to good success. And basically, what they started doing was it was almost fantastic psychological warfare against the Germans. And they made, because obviously it was super cheap to make these things because it was just basically just little bits of plastic. They started mass manufacturing essentially inflatable tanks and inflatable jeeps, but very accurate. So if you even if you were I'm talking even if you were 20, 30 feet away from them, you would pretty much think it was real, let alone if you were like a reconnaissance plane flying overhead or something. So they made these super realistic inflatable jeeps, inflatable tanks, and all these sorts of things. And they started like lining them up on like the Western Front in places in like England, France and stuff, once the Allies had retaken France. And they started like, you know, putting out false reports, giving like double agents, like, you know, false reports that made it look like they'd been caught from places, saying that like the American army is like building up here and they're going to invade Germany here or invade wherever here. And they even like put out like radio frequencies and stuff saying like 30,000 troops are stationed here, blah blah blah, along where they put all these inflatable tanks, so it would all correlate. All the information would correlate. The information that they thought they'd gathered through their spies, the photographic evidence from reconnaissance planes that had been flying overhead, radio frequencies and radio signals that had been picked up, they all correlated. So then obviously the Germans would like divert all of their fucking all of their soldiers, and got so far,
setting up for it.
All of their like tanks and their armors, to set it up for that, and then the real army would just be like hundreds of miles away.
That's so cool.
So good,
That's
isn't it?
So cool.
So
I
good.
love a little beat.
They even did that on D-Day, I think.
Whoa.
They even did that on D-Day.
That's pretty
I'll tell you
awesome.
something as well, which is just to finish the show, because we must come to an end. But another thing which apparently the Americans did to the Vietnamese, this is just another American thing, during the Vietnamese War, and this is eerie, man. This is eerie. So apparently, I don't know if they still are to this day, but back in the 60s, the Vietnamese people were very superstitious. You got to bear in mind, most of them lived a very rural life, like farmers and stuff, very superstitious. And they believed, what was it? I can't remember. Basically, they believed very strongly in ghosts.
Right.
I can't remember exactly, but I think they believed something like, I can't remember the exact criteria of why they thought you would become a ghost, but like if you something like regretted something you did in your life or something like that, then you would come back as a ghost. Anyway, the Americans somehow like infiltrated Vietnamese radio frequencies, right? And they would put like creepy noises, like legit. I think there's even clips of it that you can listen to on YouTube, right? I'll see if I can find one in a second, right? I don't know if it'll be legit though, unfortunately. But
we can hope.
So
we can pretend.
So there'd be like a just a normal Vietnamese
God.
like music playing or whatever, in like some little Vietnamese farmer's hut somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, and then it'd be like something like. Because what the reason they were doing this, I should probably tell people the reason they were doing this. The idea behind that
just for fun.
They weren't just doing it for fun. Probably some of them were little crazy buggers, but they obviously wanted to affect morale.
Yes.
So they wanted to convince the Vietnamese people that they should throw down their arms and that they should basically give up the war against the Americans. So at first, so there'd be like groans and like wails and stuff, and it'd be things like, "I should have never fought. I wish I'd stayed at home. If you're listening, don't make the mistake that I did."
Oh my God.
And this would just play like in the background like 24/7 on Vietnamese radio.
That's crazy.
And obviously, like to the average person, that's just like some Vietnamese farmer in the 60s. They probably didn't even realise that there was technology available to even infiltrate something like that. So they just thought it. That would have seemed super creepy, wouldn't it?
There were probably a lot of people that like then lived out the rest of their life, died, and still never found out the truth that was like Americans, and just believed that was like an actual supernatural experience.
Oh man,
that's
horrible,
crazy.
Isn't it? Horrible. Let me just see, just to finish the show. Let me see if I can find.
I really hope we can find one, man.
Vietnam War radio chatter. Let's see if this is it. Vietnam War radio chatter. Hopefully this will be it, and it won't just be like something completely not to do with it. Oh no, that's Americans just chatting.
Maybe
about
put like Vietnam War radio ghost.
Yeah, radio ghost. Let's have a look. Radio ghost. Vietnam War ghost radio. That's gonna be it.
Oh, that sounds like it to me.
Operation Wandering Soul. Oh, that must have been what it was called.
That's a cool name. That's a cool
Operation
name.
Wandering Soul. Right, let's see. I hope this is legit. The following is a recording of the Wandering Soul or Ghost Tape number 10 used during the Vietnam War. Let's check it out, people.
Tape number 10.
Right, come on then, hurry up. Ain't got all day. It was used in psychological operations against the communist North Vietnam. Yeah, we know that already. This is creeping me out, man.
Mate.
It's quite mate, it sounds horrific. Yeah. It sounds like if you're watching a horror movie and it'd be like some like succubus or some banshee.
Yeah, it sounds like actual like tortured souls. Man, that is horrible.
Hope this doesn't put you off your Cocoa Pops, folks. Yeah, it said that this type of psychological warfare played deeply on the Vietnamese belief of ancestor worship, spirits, and the afterlife. The Wandering Soul... Oh, sorry, it wasn't infiltrated on Vietnam radio. It says the Wandering Soul was played on loudspeakers installed on helicopters, PCF boats, or by infiltrating infantry loudspeaker teams. Oh, no, so they did infiltrate it on the others' radio, on loudspeaker teams, on known enemy areas, usually at night deep within the jungle. So just to translate, this is obviously this talking now. It says, who is that who is calling me, my daughter, my wife?
Your father is back home with you, my daughter.
Yeah, your father is back at home with you, my daughter. Your husband is back home with you, my wife, but my body is gone, I am dead, my family.
Man, dark stuff.
Tragic, how tragic. I am in hell, just hell. See, so they were in that what a senseless death, how senseless, how senseless. When I realised the truth, it was too late, too late. So yeah, obviously they were basically just trying to basically they're trying to discourage the Vietnamese from fighting, and they were trying to say like, don't make the same mistake as me. Throw down your arms, don't fight like I did, because otherwise you'll end up in hell, like me.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, that would work on me. if I was thinking of signing up, and then I heard that, I'm like, man, I ain't going to fight.
I think we got to bear in mind as well,
horrible.
That even though there are obviously countless people alive today that were alive in the 60s, like most of them were relatively young. Like the 60s was 60 years ago now. It was a long time ago, half a century. People were more religious back then. People were more superstitious back then. And especially if you were in somewhere like rural Vietnam, as I said, and you were in they said they played these things out in the middle of the jungle in the night. I mean, if we were in the middle of the freaking forest nowadays, and you heard sounds like that, it would be creepy.
Man, with everything, get scared in the middle of the forest without those noises. You chuck those noises in, I'll be terrified.
And think we know all about speakers and that you can hack things to like play. We know all of that, but even so, we still get scared. So imagine what it would have been like for some rural guy in Vietnam, in the middle of the jungles in the 60s. You'd be like freaking cacking your pants, man.
Yeah, man, that is
insane. You'd be cacking your pants.
That is insane.
Anyway, we'll leave it there, folks, on that cool little factoid for you guys.
Yeah, what a great one to end on.
You've been listening to Pandora's Box. I have been Obadiah Pennyworth. Oh, yeah, I said earlier that. Actually,
it's been a little while.
I said that, actually. I could refer to myself as Calum. But I did actually originally have a little alter ego on this. Bullwinkle's been Bullwinkle. Of course, the baby-faced assassin. The mayor of Winkletown himself.
Hell yeah.
You have been beautiful guys. Thanks as always for listening to Pandora's Box. We appreciate every single person that listens to the show. If you can, go follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Spotify, YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps us out if you like the show. We appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time. Have a good one.